Robert Fisher has been a Toastmaster since 2014 when he joined Irvine Project Masters as a charter member. He served as a treasurer 3 terms in a row before taking on VPE. Robert also joined Panasonic Flying Toasters at Panasonic Avionics Company in 2016. In 2018, he served as the VP of Education in both clubs and has been an area director twice. Please welcome to the Zoom lectern, Robert Fisher. Distinguished.
Welcome. I'm having still a little bit of technical difficulties. I don't think I can share my screen at the moment. Golly, just one thing after another.
I can also share it for you.
We got to make him a co-host, right? That's why.
Oh, that might help.
I think what you can do, the host can just click that little security thing and it allows everyone to share the screen. It's on the bottom left, but I think the host has to do that, and then anyone can share a screen. So that's another way.
Go ahead, Robert.
Okay, I can share now. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go here to this.
Take it easy, Robert. Calm.
I'm doing very.
That's
you.
okay. We hear you.
Yes.
All right.
I'm muttering to myself. Well, thank you very much. Welcome to officers training. Treasurer is a very important job. I asked you to answer some poll questions, so hopefully that'll help me structure this so it works better for you as I try to get my presentation back up again.
We are seeing a beautiful mountain.
I know, that's what I'm going to fix.
It's FYI for you.
Thank you. So, Billy, could you show me what the results for the poll are, if you wouldn't mind?
Sure. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see how to share it here. I'm just like that. No. You guys seen it?
Okay. So 2 people, first-time club officers. Boy, 5 people are first-time treasurers. And of course, we have 14 that are experienced treasurers. And 19 of the 25 people are community clubs, and we have 9 people that are in a corporate club. So the corporate club and the community club are a little bit different in the jobs the treasurer has to do, because you really have to collect in the community clubs from each member. Well, in the corporate club, all you have to do is generally go to HR and tell them how many members you have in the club, and they cut a check and they send it to Toastmasters. So I've already sort of settled that one quickly. And the next 9 slides you're going to see are being shown to all officers. And the reason is so that you know all the resources that are available to you as a club officer. I'm not going to go through them real quickly, but I'm not going to take a lot of time. So just to let you know, club management, it's all in this free download PDF that you can see at the bottom of the page. And it talks about role descriptions, the Distinguished Club Program, elections, and just about everything you need to know as a club manager. If you haven't been an officer before, this page of the club share. You may have not seen this before because now you can get into Leadership Central and you can go to the club that you're with, and then also you can look at club management, which shows all the officer tools that are available online. And then this is the picture that you see when you go into club management for your own club. And basically it reminds us that the approvals in the base camp also have to be submitted to Club Central for credit because we have two separate systems that are running right now. But the things that are most important to you are the, adding membership and then also renewing duals, which you do here in Club Central as a treasurer. So it's add membership and then submitting payment. And membership, as you know, is very important because if we have 20 or more members in the club, it means we have a lot of members and we have a lot of participation. If we start to get below, well, I think 8 is sort of the minimum, 8 or 9, all of a sudden you have people that are repeating roles and it makes it more difficult. And so membership is very important. And as a treasurer, you have a lot of input into that because you will be doing the dues collection. And then you'll also be separating out the TI dues to pay Toastmasters, the club dues, which you'll put in your own separate account, not your personal account, your club account. And then, of course, we sign up new members and pathways fees when we get this. And then, of course, it's very important that the membership be signed both by the new member and by a club officer. Does anybody have any questions with that at all? Okay.
Where do the pathways fees go? Is that to Toastmasters International as well?
Pathways fees also go to Toastmasters. So the TI dues and the new member pathway fee goes to Toastmasters. Club dues go to the club.
Every club can charge their own set of membership fees, right? Like that's, I guess, that we think it's sufficient to manage the club, right? We set our own fees.
Correct.
Right.
You said
Okay.
the officers and the club members agree on what the fee. Generally, when you form the club, all the members agree on what the fee will be, and then if you need to change it because you've been kicked out of the free place you used to go and meet, and you now have to pay some money to meet in that arena, then you may have to increase your club fees to cover that on a monthly basis. And then you submit that to the membership, and membership would approve it because you don't have much choice really.
Mm-hmm.
But then this is our part, and I'd like to spend a little bit of time on that. So a new member, you have to collect $20 to get them into Pathways. If this is a dual member, you don't have to do that because they've already have a Pathways course. If they want to buy an additional Pathways course, of course they can, and they could do it themselves, or they can do it through this and buy another path this way. But the membership dues, I think most people know that it's set, we're 6 months is $45 dues. So if they're joining and they have less than 6 months left in the session, they get a reduced rate. And if it's in March or September, they have to pay $7.50. And then of course, a month later, you then have to charge them $45 to start up again. Like it depends on how you want to do it. Some people put the 6 months and the 1 month together just to get it all in one shot.
Robert, this is the membership dues that the fee goes to Toastmasters International, right? This is not the club dues.
Yeah, the club dues, if you look to the right, there's international fees and dues from line 3 above. the club new member fee, and then there's a club dues. So
Got it.
normally we collect the international fee and dues and the new club member fee and send that off to Toastmasters. And the other fee, it depends on how you want it done. I mean, the guy or gal could send you all the money, and then you have to separate it out and send part to Toastmasters and the other part to your club bank account. Does this all make sense to everybody? Has everybody been exposed to this at least once when you joined? Okay, so let's move on. So Pathways is, of course, the educational value in Toastmasters now. And we want to ensure that all members are enrolled and that all new members, within 2 weeks are enrolled and start participating in the Pathways program, because that's what our whole system is based on now. And I think everybody, hopefully in this group, is a Pathways, not advocate, but at least participant. And every Toastmasters journey begins here. And this is a great resource. And I don't know if all of you or all of your clubs know that you can have this sent to new members, and they can use it to determine, how the club operates. I think it gives a new person a really good view on the Toastmaster system. So now we've sort of almost finished it. The next one is the club, the base camp manager. And the base camp manager is the club president, the vice president of education, and the club secretary. And they're the ones that can sign off your Pathways levels as you complete them. So now you know pretty much what all the other officers have heard in their other training sessions. And now we're going to get into the meat of being a treasurer. So as the treasurer, you're the club's accountant. You manage the club's bank account, write checks, and deposit membership dues. You also submit all the payments to TI generally. However, just to let you know, all the club officers can also submit payments on their to TI if they want to. And it'll show up in the account that you'll be looking at as a treasurer. So you'll see that they have paid. So we can break this up into club management, records and archives, and the basics. So with club management, you're going to develop a financial account. You're going to keep all information on the members' dues. You're going to create a budget. You're going to write checks, and you're going to file taxes later this year for FTB 199N, which is a little note. It's almost like a little postcard, but you do it online. You don't have to send it in the mail. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Does anybody have any questions about this? Okay. So club budgets are to be prepared and submitted to the club membership for approval by August the 1st and February the 1st each year. I'm not sure that all the clubs do this, and I'm pretty sure that corporate clubs don't do it, since most of the money is covered by the corporation. And so there's not much of a budget. I think we have a couple of people that are corporate. Do you have any comments on that?
This is Bill. Yeah, so our club is corporate. We don't submit this because I think my understanding is that with respect to the taxes, because it's supposed to be like it's like classified as a nonprofit. I forget, it's like what
Nonprofit.
the, right? There's a certain amount of money you actually have to spend, and if you don't go over that, then it's not an issue. And I think we don't spend very much money on anything, so it never gets past that certain point. That's my understanding. I might be wrong, but I thought I read that somewhere at one point.
Okay. Anybody else have a comment that they want to bring up on this point?
Robert, is there a copy of this sample in Excel format available?
I'm sure there is. I don't have the number right now. I'll check and get back to you on that.
Okay, you think I can find that at TI website?
Possibly.
Okay.
Or I can make one up for you pretty quickly.
I'll let Robert continue. This is Billy, Tech Master. I'll dig around while he continues, and if I find out, post it in the chat. Thanks.
Thanks. So when we were meeting in person, I don't know how many of you have started to meet in person yet. My club still is not, and I'm in another couple of clubs I check in on every now and then, and most of us are still meeting online. So a lot of the things like, paying for awards and ribbons, doesn't have to happen now because we really can't pass the ribbons to members, except for I think we have an electronic ribbon that we can send, but we don't use that at my club. But then marketing materials you can also get through TI. I don't think we really know. Does anybody have
Our
any
expense is Zoom. Zoom costs our
Zoom
club.
costs? Yeah, that's true. Although I guess if we shut our meeting off at 40 minutes, we could do it for free, right?
You could set up 2 40-minute meetings. You
Yeah.
just jump
Yeah,
off and jump back on.
I don't know of any clubs that do that, but
I think our costs are Meetup and Zoom.
We actually used to do that, have 2 meetings and during, while we were voting for best table topics, we'd switch.
oh, did that work out pretty well for you?
It did. And then when COVID actually gave me a unlimited account kind of since about Mother's Day of 2020, and it's still sitting that way. So we've been using mine for free, but.
Okay.
You can also use the personal meeting room in Zoom, and there's no time limit.
Oh. I didn't know about that. Well, that's a good point. So if anybody wants to do that, that's something you can think about.
Which one was that one again?
Personal meeting room in Zoom.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So we can do fundraising even though we're a nonprofit. It's just that we can't make a profit. So if you're doing a speech craft or success communication leadership workshop, you could charge to pay for those costs, but you can't make a profit on it. And of course, raffles, auctions, white elephants. And if you do that during club functions, normally I've only seen that done during speech contests or things like that. But if we don't make a profit on it, it's acceptable. And then of course you see all the things where we make a profit or people make a profit on. That's not acceptable because it violates our nonprofit opportunity that we have. Anybody have any questions on that? So this form, I just want to show you how nice it's going to be, because you can just go over when you get this presentation and click the button. Well, clicking the button works. And when I did this on practice, it popped it up into the screen, but now it put it on my other screen. So we can't see that. But then this is a how-to video. It explains it very easily, sort of graphically. And of course, we also have the way to get to the form for that. It takes 15 minutes to fill it out. Basically, you have to know how much you received in money from the club members during the year. And that is usually a lot less than what they care about. And that's all you have to do. And you have to put names of you, and then I think the name of the president of the club, and mailing addresses and information like that. So it's not difficult. You can do it in 15 minutes easily. And I think that other people that have done it, I don't know.
Can you repeat the dates that they're due?
Yeah, let me see if that comes up. Yeah, there's, let me see.
You just said there were two. I think you said,
No, there's only one date.
oh, okay.
It's not going the way I want to. Sorry.
We'll get an email from, will we get an email reminder from founders? No?
Possibly.
No,
Okay.
I don't think they're doing.
Sometimes your area director might.
Yeah, I don't think Toastmasters is doing it anymore, and so I try to remember to do it. But I think it was March 1st or March. Somebody said May 15th. I'll have to look it up again. I just did it a couple of days ago, but
Okay.
I always do it after the first of the year because you just need your numbers from the previous year.
Perfect. I think I'll do that now.
So I think. Give me 1 second. Somehow I got out of my presentation. So the other thing, so there's a couple of different ways we can collect our dues now that a lot of us are not meeting face to face. Of course, when we were meeting face to face, the member could pay a cash or a check to us, and then we could accept, the treasurer could accept the payment, and then they would pay TI using the club account, and they would also put the club dues in the club account. So that worked out really easily. But now members, some of the clubs have set up so that the member pays using PayPal, Zelle, Venmo, or some other online method. And the treasurer monitors that, and then we would still pay TI using the club account. And then there's a future state that's in planning, but I don't know that much about it. And I think when it comes out, you guys will be informed just like I will be.
Is there a receipt that is created if it's requested? If it goes through Zelle, for example, or one of those options?
You get with Zelle, you get a copy that the member has paid. I guess you could take a screenshot and send it to them.
Okay.
Does anybody have a better solution?
I mean, I was wondering if we could just create one, or if there's like some type of template, because I know some people's jobs also help pay for, their Toastmasters dues.
Mhm.
So they request the receipt.
Well, I guess you could always go to Staples and buy a receipt book, and then you could just write out a receipt for that. Or I'm sure there's online receipt forms that you could fill out.
Okay.
Be another way to do it.
Yeah, there's actually, so this is Rand from Saddleback Valley Toastmasters. We use a receipt form available on the Toastmasters website, and we just fill it out by hand and provide that to the member. Generally, that's been working out. Otherwise, yeah, sending a receipt through the website is a good way to do it as well.
Okay, thank you.
I forward the copy of the membership email that comes back to the
From
treasurer.
Toastmasters. Yeah.
And from Toastmasters, and I forwarded that to the member, so they have it.
Yeah, this is Kathy. We do the same thing also too. Once we get the receipt, we send it on over to them.
Don, you raised your hand.
Yes, a question, and I may have overlooked this in here. So currently where we're still meeting shelter in place or not in physical meeting rooms, just Zoom, then I don't know how all the clubs are doing it or if a session, but like the several clubs are, man, we don't actually charge club dues. So in that case, right, the member can just pay directly to TI through credit card, correct? And not have to worry about having, well, I mean, you still want to keep a record of it, of course, to know that they paid, but the club itself wouldn't necessarily have to take any action beyond that other than just assuring that they pay that on time, correct?
Well, only club officers can pay dues. And so I don't believe that if you're not a club officer, you can't pay the dues. So you'd have to somehow get it to the treasurer or the president.
Well, they could do it on the phone, correct? I mean, they could just.
Yeah, they could do it on the phone. You're correct. They could call and do it on the phone.
You said there was a cost to buy another Pathways path, but the members cannot, so same thing, the members can't pay for that directly to TI, they have to go through the treasurer?
No, they can also pay that directly through TI. You can call and tell them you want another path, and they'll take your credit card, and that'll be that. I'm just saying, if you are joining a second club and you want another path, that's an easy way to get it, but you can call.
Yeah, you can do that all online. You can do that on their website. It's just the paying dues that takes an officer.
This is Peg Kling from Speakeasies. For people who want to join for the first time or renew their membership, I'm willing to meet them somewhere and give them, especially for a new member, I put in all the information about the new membership. I turn my laptop around, they put in their credit card information, and we hit submit, and I never see anything of their paperwork because we don't have any club dues. We've got a nice, healthy treasury. Thank you to our to another company, but we've got a good treasury, so we just pay TI dues, and I just meet them and put it in the laptop, and away we go. It's one way of doing it.
Good option.
Brian, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, I've seen this slide, the payment options slide with the future state for a couple of training sessions now, amounting to about 1.5 years. I'm wondering, when is this future state going to arrive? If anybody knows.
I don't know myself.
We will get back to you on that one.
No, I can give him a guaranteed answer. It will be here by February 33rd.
Ha 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 ha.
Of this year? Oh, 33rd.
33rd is whenever TI decides to release it. Who knows? The 33rd. There is no such date. But we
Gotcha.
know TI is working on it and it'll be here whenever. Plus, they have to do this for 50 different states of the US. Plus all the international stuff. So it's
Yeah, it may be difficult.
it's in planning.
I think those are the hands that raised. Robert.
Okay. So of course, we have some records and archives that we need to keep track of. And generally, the treasurer is the person that holds all the membership applications. And of course, they keep the club financial records. And hopefully, every 6 months, if we change treasurers, then that information is transferred from the prior treasurer to the future treasurer. And of course, there's some things that you want to keep for the life of the club. There's some things that we need to keep for 7 years, and there's some things that we only need to keep for 3 years. And I have a beautiful list right here. So up to the date financial record is a 7-year commitment. Manage bank account and create budget. That sort of goes on as long as your club is in operation. Collect and submit membership and renewal dues every 6 months. File necessary tax document once a year in California, where we are. Prepare documents for annual audit committee. I've never had an audit committee ask me for any of the records, so I've never had to prepare any, nor do I ever expect to get into a position where I need to do something like that. And of course, save the club charter record and club roster permanently. Anybody have any comments on that?
There is a question in the chat from Chris Bear. Is there any guidance on privacy requirements for storing applications?
I believe if the member on their membership application puts their bank account information down, you're supposed to cut that section out and give it back to them after you've submitted the payment. But other than that, I don't know of anything else. Does anybody else have any experience with that?
They did add the bank information as a third page now, so you got a separate page to throw away.
Right, yeah. I give it back to the person so that they know I don't have it.
So my question has to do with everything being virtual. This is my first time as the treasurer. And being the last president, I know the treasurer that I'm taking over for does not have these records except for electronic records. So when it says save club charter records and club roster permanently, isn't that on the website now? Or am I supposed to get some physical documents from somebody?
Well, I know the club charter is on the website, so I think that's maybe where we're saying it's being saved permanently, because it really should never get erased. And the club roster is changing at least quarter, or at least
every 6 months.
Every 6 months. So,
but that's also on TI's website.
It's also on TI's website. So,
but those are only the current members. Sometimes you want to invite members who were here a year ago or 2 years ago, or when the club was originally chartered, and all that TI might have is their name and member number. They won't necessarily have a mailing address or phone number. So sometimes keeping those hard print out documents to contact future people is a good idea, to keep it in a hard copy somewhere.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's one side. We were in a,
I think they're electronic now. And if I really need it, it can be obtained because we're 20 years old this year. And I know we have records for other, for people like that chartered the club. So we're good. It's just that me as the treasurer, I don't have them. I know who has them.
that's the key, knowing who has them.
Okay, thank you.
And now I was a member of a community club meeting in a company facility. And the company announced on Monday that they were going to be moving in about a year and a half. So somebody went into the closet where we had all of our records stored and picked everything up that didn't have the company name on the box and threw it in the trash. And there went our charter, there went our banner, there went a whole bunch of records. And somebody went in and grabbed some what they could that didn't have coffee stains on them, and we used those. So that's something to have an idea of where they are and file in the back of your mind if you need to. Go grab them if there's any announcements made about somebody moving. I'll take those records.
Good point.
Chris, please come on mute and ask your question.
Yeah, the thing I was going to comment on was on the digital records. I made a push in the last couple of years to put everything onto a Google Drive. So we don't have physical copies. In fact, I have no idea where anything over about 5 years old exists. But the reason why I was asking about or commenting on the privacy was I set up a Google Drive with access to all the officers, and then someone has to go in there every time the officers change the access to those documents. And we have two sets of folders. We have a set of folders for members, so anyone can enter and pull up an application, pull up, the kind of the more generic TM documents. But the actual ones about running of the club, budget, things like that, are all kept on an officer folder, which we also have subfolders for every officer in there.
Okay.
I would say half the officers use the Google Drive, the other half don't. But the ones who do use it are the ones like the VPE, the treasurer, the secretary, ones who actually have a lot more interaction on these documents. But it adds a whole level of administration. Who's going to manage this Google Drive? Whose job is it? Do you have a tech master? Do you have someone on the officers who's doing this, the sergeant at arms or whatever? It's an aspect that I think is valuable because getting rid of the paper documents is I think a way to go. But we've also been in conversation with Toastmasters International about converting totally to a digital application without having a physical signature, and they are resistant to allow an e-signature, which I think is interesting considering that legally it's binding in a lot of situations. So I'm still pushing to see if we can get a totally online form that can be signed online as opposed to requiring a printout, a sign, and a re-upload.
You're talking about for the membership?
The application, for the membership application itself, yeah. And then earlier, I think people were talking about invoices and receipts, and I was getting confused as to which ones people are after, but I know that the Free Toast House has a great invoicing tool for the treasurer that allows you to send an email to do follow-up and reminders and to track payments as well.
Correct.
And I use that all the time as a way to contact people. It's a little more automated because I can just send out a form letter that goes out to everyone on the active members list instead of sending out 20 emails.
Correct. Well, it sends them out for you automatically, and then as they pay, you stop sending it to them.
Correct. You click them on the list, and then it no longer does a follow-up. So I find that to be. I'm trying to get it as much digital as possible, but it is a difficulty because it's an added level of administration and technical capability that you're going to be putting on officers in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Well, but
sorry.
we're all pretty used to it.
Did you say that that's available on the TI website? I apologize for all the questions, brand new to the position.
It's the free Toast Host website, which your club gets from. It's not. I think it's not an official Blessed Toastmaster application, but it is one that people who work for Toastmasters have helped build, and you can host your website there. My club's website is hosted there, and there is some type of a push link from information that comes. Some of the information comes directly from TM website. I know, like, for example, we use it for our agendas too. We set up our agendas. And when people go in there and say, I'm the speaker for this week, speaker one for this week, I can go in there and say which pathway I'm on, what level I'm on, and I can actually type in my introduction there so that whoever's going to be my evaluator can go in there and find that information, pull up the evaluation form, and I don't have to go and send it to them all through email. I tend to do that still, but it's the Toast Host function. Once you learn it, there's a learning curve. There's a bar to get up to learning, and we had a hard time 2 years ago getting our club to use it. But now that they're using it, they really enjoy having that ability to just go in there and say, "Yep, I confirm I'm going to be there for that meeting."
That's good.
Sorry, and did you
well,
say that there's a way to? Did you say that there's a way to go through the membership application through Toast Host?
Not through Toast Host, no. No, that we're doing through Google Form.
Got
I've
it.
set up a Google Form that basically takes everything out of the application and pops it into a Google Form.
Well, we're going to have a couple minutes at the end. We can bring up other things non-treasurer. So I'd like to keep going, just get this completed, and then we'll move forward. So the next slide is, as an officer, you're going to get a leader's letter monthly. And so we'd ask that you read that. We've already talked about using Club Central for dues. Of course, you're a backup a little bit lower down on the totem pole than everybody, than the guys that are high, or women that are higher than you. But you should be able to back up other officers. And of course, you've already completed one of your tasks. You've attended officer training. And then, of course, you're going to get some professional or transferable skills out of this position, because just working with the other officers and, business processes, and also some personal development, communication skills, standards, compliance, accounting. So you're also learning in this also, as we all do in Toastmasters.